Good morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to my morning news report right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. Remembering George H. W. Bush from Maine to Washington, D.C. Let's begin. The town of Kennebunkport held its own personal farewell ceremony for President George H. W. Bush on Tuesday morning yesterday. The ceremony only drew about 40 people, but it was a farewell to the town's favorite son and a family that lived in this area by a community that certainly loved him. Kennebunkport residents gathered at the entrance to Walker's Point to remember the 41st president. Bush loved the place, spending decades at the compound, relaxing and growing into a member of the town. Town officials placed wreaths at the entrance to his property, and officials spoke about how the former president and first lady did everything from spending time on their boat to going to local schools and charity functions. Hutchins worked at the Bush compound for years as a teenager. Many residents of Kennebunkport felt a personal connection to Bush, who they said still realized the importance of the person who lived next door, despite spending much of his life on the world stage. Officials said Bush was the greatest member of the greatest generation, and the world is a darker place now that he is gone. Thousands line up into wee hours of the night to pay respects to George H. W. Bush at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. A lack of sleep didn't stop the thousands of people from lining up overnight to pay their respects to the late President George H. W. Bush at the Capitol Rotunda. Bush has lied in state since Monday evening. On Tuesday, he was visited by family including former President George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, and other rivals like Bob Doyle, who was helped out of his wheelchair to salute the World War II veteran. But the lion's share of visitors were everybody Americans, and they came out by the thousands. Some waited 3 or 4 or more hours. And here's some photos from there. Take a look. People stemmed into the rotunda all night. The line was still thousands of people deep well after midnight. By the time it started to thin around 6 a.m., 42,000 people had paid their respects, according to a U.S. Capitol Police source. The hearing was open until 7 a.m. Wednesday, and the casket will be taken to the National Cathedral starting at 10 a.m. Earlier Tuesday, an official in charge of counting the number of visitors said he did not know how many had visited. His counter only went up to 9,999, and then he relied the total to a supervisor and began his count again. Even children who were too young to live through the George W. Bush administration lined up to pay respect. The children all answered with heads nods and smiles when asked if they aspired to be like Bush. Only 32 people, 12 presidents, have ever lined in the state at the U.S. Capitol. The last president was General Ford over the New Year's holiday in 2006 to 2007. President Abraham Lincoln was the first president to lie in state in 1865 following his assassination, but Secretary of State Henry Clay was the first to lie in state 3 years earlier. And that does it for my morning news report right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another news report. And also beginning at 10 a.m., ABC News will have on-stream coverage of the National Day of Mourning for President George H.W. Bush, beginning at 10 a.m., and we will share that live stream with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And a reminder, a lot of places are closed today for the national mourning. The government is closed today, and the stock market is closed, and the United States Post Office is closed today as well. And that does it for my report. I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye, everyone.